Hello, friends. Welcome to my proposal for Hangul 2.0. And the idea is that we want to extend Hangul to be able to transcribe more sounds than it already does at this moment. So here's a quick disclaimer, so you can read at your leisure while pausing. So why Hangul version 2.0? Um, Hangul was originally invented by Sejong Daewang in 1444, a little bit less than 600 years ago. And then the purpose or the requirement was for the people to be able to write down their thoughts and feelings. Because at the time, only scholars who studied for years learning Hanja were able to do any sort of writing at all. And Sejong Daewang thought that okay, this was not right, and he was actually making the his subjects suffer. So then he wanted to address that problem. And 600 years later, people's needs have changed, even despite its success in terms of literacy rate decreasing significantly. For, um, and Koreans right now are learning English, right, as a second language, starting in third grade. In many cases, they also learn a third language. There are immigrants, who are bilingual, either who are immigrating out or immigrating into Korea. And then there are universities around the world that teach Korean as well as a language and also as a culture. Um, and so you have uh, Hangul also as a phonetic system that is easy to expand and contract as it's modular. And so there are actually other sounds that are no longer in use today compared to the archaic Korean uh, in terms of the old manuscripts and whatnot that actually has more consonants and vowels than in the modern Korean. So given these changes, there's immediate need where there are actually missing sounds. And so then we can look at the letter F or the sound F. So you have word like fan, and right now we transcribe that as pan. And so coffee to copy, leaf to lipu, France to pransu. And so because we're changing the sound to another sound that's familiar in English or other Western European country sounds, that it sounds like a totally different word, right? So then English speakers can understand what you're talking about as a Korean trying to sound these words out because they sound very different. And then let's say English speakers, if they're trying to learn Korean, then they cannot leverage English. They literally have to learn a Korean way of pronouncing these American or English words. And so then that causes quite a bit of confusion and frustration. And so there has been some times when I'm in Korea and it says, then I say like, hey, what is this Korean word? I don't know what that is. And then later I find that it's actually an English word that it has been um, mapped to a different sound than the original sound like this, and that causes quite a bit of frustration. So the proposal is to coming up with a new sound or a new letter for the sounds. So for instance, for the sound F, what we can do is that we can use this new proposed letter, which has a vertical line coming down, and then you have a horizontal line going across. And so then that actually is the upper teeth touching your lower lips. And then the bottom here, the kind of like a half semicircle is essentially blowing the air through that space. And so the idea is that yeah, this is kind of mimicking your shape of your mouth as you are try to create that sound for the F. And so if you look down, the reason why it's designed this way is that instead of having like something like a shiung and then having a across for the lips and then having a circle, I kind of compress this down into less number of strokes, so that way it looks quite different from other consonants and consonant vowel combinations. Because right now this already looks like a sung instead of a new letter for a new sound. So hopefully that makes it more uh, differentiable between the new letter and the old system or the existing system. So here are the examples of how we can use this, right? So you have like words on the left, the in different languages, and then you have in Hangul everything just mapped to the P, like so fan to pan, and then it's but then if you use Hangul 2.0, then it's actually a fan, and then same thing with uh, poto instead photo, and then pama instead it will be fama, and then fila instead of pila you say fila. It sounds more like the original Spanish, right? Same thing with palm. Instead, it'll be fam, and then hopu into hof. And so Hybrid 2.0 is more similar to the original language word, right? Instead of having it mapped to P sound, which makes it really difficult to understand um, in terms of the original actual word from the original language. So as you can see, it can be learned in just a few minutes in terms of the sound itself, and then it's combined with other consonants and vowels, and so you can easily just swap out the P sound or with the F sound, and so it makes it easier to understand. And the one of the nice things is that the children can like learn the pronunciation for these English sounds along with the other Korean, and you can actually use some of the English words, right, that people already use to be able to sound that out. Makes it simple. And then the other benefit is just the technical aspect of it, where we're not using the same sound for two different sounds in English to in Korean. Um, and the other part aspect of it is that the technical terms, especially in science and engineering, that you'll be more accurate and faster communication, because when engineers, from Korea talking to engineers from America or Australia, right, that they don't need to try to do this sound mappings to figure out like what Koreans are talking about, or vice versa, right? And the other one is the for machine processing, it'll be easier for indexing and searching, just because it's a one-to-one mapping of the sounds and not necessarily, uh, you know, many to one or two-to-one mapping, and so then there's less guessing and complexity when you are writing some software or algorithms. And so from a project management perspective, this is currently phase one. And so in phase one, I'm going to be creating these 7 new letters for English sounds, um, for these ones that doesn't exist in Korean, in Hangul right now, and then trying to come up with the new ones that make sense. And then the idea is that in the next phases, we will be adding in other languages such as Japanese or Spanish sounds to make sure that those are all covered. And so that way in Hangul, you should be able to more accurately transcribe foreign language words using Hangul. Okay, so if you'd like to support Hangul 2.0, please like and subscribe. And if you enjoy this work thus far and would like to support this effort, please buy me coffee.